The evening was meant to be flawless. At least that's what I told myself while slipping into a shimmering silver dress and touching up my lipstick at the vanity. Daniel had poured weeks of effort into preparing for this corporate celebration. It was his moment to be honored for closing one of the firm's largest deals. I should have been there to support him. Instead, I made the night about me. When we arrived, he looked handsome in a custom suit, greeting colleagues with a modest smile. Grand entrances were never his style. He preferred quiet confidence over showy bravado. I, however, fed on attention. Glasses were raised, laughter bubbled around us, and with every toast I felt that familiar tug to steer the spotlight my way. It started small, a teasing remark here, a flirty aside there. People laughed, and I soaked it up. Then someone asked Daniel to explain how he'd pulled off the deal. Before he could answer, I jumped in with a laugh and a casual put-down. Oh, come on. He just got lucky. Honestly, he'd be lost if I didn't remind him where he leaves his socks. The group chuckled. Daniel's smile faltered. I noticed it but waved it away as harmless teasing. As the night wore on, I kept going. Little jabs about his forgetfulness, his terrible attempts at cooking, his late nights at the office. Each laugh I drew made him look smaller beside me. I watched his eyes dim and his shoulders tighten. And then the inevitable moment came. Someone raised a glass to him and called him the evening's honoree. I clinked my glass against his with a playful grin and said, "The honoree? Please, if you knew how often I fix things at home, you'd know who really runs the show." The room exploded in laughter, but its sound sliced through the air like glass. Daniel stood motionless, jaw clenched, and his eyes shone not with pride but with something crueler, hurt. He set his drink down with deliberate slowness. The laughter around us faded as he straightened and cleared his throat. When he spoke, his voice was steady and quieter than a shout, but it carried more force than any outburst could. "I've worked my whole life to be a man of integrity, someone my wife could feel proud of. Tonight, though, I appear to be nothing more than her joke." The silence that followed felt heavy and absolute. I began to speak, to explain, to laugh it off, but he raised a hand and stopped me. "I've let the little insults slide," he said. "I thought that's how you are. But standing here in front of my colleagues and friends, you've shown how little respect you have for me." He faced the room, calm and unyielding. "I won't live like this anymore. Not at parties, not at home, nowhere." Then, with a quiet dignity that broke me, he looked at me once more. His eyes were not angry, they were exhausted. "Our marriage ends tonight. For good." And with that he left. I remained frozen as whispers spiraled around me. My heart thudded so loudly I could barely breathe. I wanted to run after him, to shout that it was only a joke, that I didn't mean to hurt him. But even as I wanted to deny it, I knew the truth. Those offhand barbs were not harmless. They had been tiny, repeated cuts that ultimately took away the man who loved me. The drive home was an echoing solitude. The silence in the car felt louder than the party ever had. When I arrived, the house was empty of him. His belongings were gone, and a single, neatly folded note sat on the table. "Respect is the foundation of love. You broke that tonight. I won't let you break me anymore." I sank to the floor, the note clutched in my hands as tears blurred the edges of the words. Memory after memory rushed back. The mornings he brought me coffee, the way he took my hand when we crossed the street, the look on his face the time I told him I was proud of him. It hit me then, with a cold clarity, that I had destroyed what I had vowed to protect. It wasn't the champagne, the crowd, or the party alone. It was my hunger to be noticed that had blinded me to the man who only wanted simply to be revered. Now he was gone, because I humiliated him in public, and he chose, finally and forever, to walk away.